الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to resume our reflections on Kitab al-Sabr wa Shukr by Ghazali, based on Mahajjatul Bayda, volume 7. We studied pages 160 to 162, and now I want to say a little bit about 162, but our main discussion starts from 175. So I will explain. As you remember, the discussion was about the wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for creating everything. Part of that wisdom we can understand by ourselves. If we are insightful, if we are intelligent, we can understand. Part of it we understand through revelation. The last point that we were discussing was about money. What's the wisdom behind having gold and silver? And we said that initially people used to produce everything that they need by themselves. Then they had sometimes something extra and lacking other things, so they were exchanging. But then sometimes they couldn't find someone that has extra of what they need and wants what he has extra. So they needed something to be in between. Again, they could find someone who has another good, but it was difficult. So they started using gold and silver, which are rare, because if gold and silver were everywhere, then that has no value. They are rare, and normally we don't use them as such. It's not that we need to use them for other purposes that much. Very little. We use them mostly for exchange and for facilitating our interactions. Now he has a lengthy discussion about misuse of gold and silver. For example, about riba, or about just saving lots of money and not spending at all. He says money is designed in order to facilitate transactions. But if you just collect money and save it, this is against the purpose. It's like we have a good king and we imprison. King has to be able to function. By imprisoning money, the wisdom is lost. If you don't understand this by yourself, then the ayah can help you. Ayatul Kanz. Ayatul Kanz. الَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ ثُمَّ لَا يُنْفِقُونَهَا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. This is the ayah that Abu Dhar used to recite a lot. It's Surah Tawbah, verse 35. وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ. Yaknizun comes from Kanz. Kanz means treasure. Means those who just store silver and coin, وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَهَا فِي سَبِيلِ, and they don't spend it in the way of God. فَبَشَّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. There are people who have already enough for end of their life, but still they collect and they leave it just unused. So he has lots of discussions about these issues, which are beautiful, but I think because the idea is clear, we don't need to read all of it. A few pages that he mentions about this, he mentions about other things. For example, also he talks about using gold and coin as containers. He says you can use containers from clay, from other things, there are wood, there are stone. Why you use gold and silver as container? This is not right, because you are blocking again money. So the whole idea is that we should use blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the thing that He has created for us human beings in the way that is compatible with His plan, so that we can be grateful. Otherwise we are not grateful. Now we move on to the next point, page 175. الركن الثاني من أركان الشكر ما عليه الشكر. Another pillar, another important aspect of shukr is to know what is the thing for which we have to be grateful. So ma'rifah is there, but also ni'mah should be there. So we want to see what is ni'mah, because ni'mah is something that makes gratefulness necessary. ما عليه الشكر الركن الثاني من أركان الشكر ما عليه الشكر وهو النعمة. The second pillar of gratitude is what for which you have to be grateful, and that is ni'mah, bounty or blessing. So in this part of the discussion, we will talk about what is haqiqatun ni'mah, what is blessing, what is ni'mah. What are different types of ni'mah? What are different darajat, ranks of ni'mah? Different types, asnaf. What are the general categories, majami' of ni'mah? We know that we cannot exhaust all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you want to count all the blessings of Allah, you would not be able to exhaust. But we will try to give you different categories. Under each category, maybe there are thousands of blessings, but at least we tried. But perhaps even those categories cannot be complete. So, we start with بيان حقيقة النعمة وأقسامها. We want to explain what is the reality of ni'mah. وأقسامها. There are different other types of ni'mah. He first starts with a general definition. He says, اعلم. I'lam means no. اعلم أن كل خير ولذة وسعادة بل كل مطلوب ومؤثر فإنه يسمى نعمة. Everything which is good, every pleasure, every happiness, indeed, everything which is desired, everything which is effective can be called a ni'mah. As far as people use the term, they can use for any pleasure, anything which is good, anything which is useful. They say it's ni'mah. Even a thief, he calls the tools that he's using, says these are good ni'mah. Yeah? Or, for example, people who do haram, if they do haram through certain means, they think this is good for them and this is ni'mah for them. They consider this to be a blessing. So, generally speaking, people use it in a very broad and very general sense. But if you want to be speaking carefully, ni'mah is something that would help you in your life in the hereafter. This is very important claim that Ghazali and Mullah Muhsin make. Please listen carefully to their argument, because this can change totally our attitude. So nothing is ni'mah unless if it can help you to have pleasure, happiness, success in the hereafter, or something which is useful for hereafter, not for dunya only. If it is dunya and akhirah together, as we will explain, that's good. If it is akhirah only, that's good. But if it is only dunya, that's the problem. And if it helps you in dunya and harms you in akhirah, that's worse. So he says, ولكن النعمة الحقيقية هي السعادة الأخروية. The real blessing, the real bounty is eternal happiness or felicity. وتسمية ما عداها نعمة وسعادة إما غلط وإما مجاز. If you call anything else ni'mah, it's either wrong or you are using it in a metaphoric sense, not in a true sense. Ghazali and Mullah Muhsin is happy with that. Yes. كتسمية السعادة الدنيوية التي لا تعين على الآخرة. He says if something is only in dunya good, worldly prosperity, worldly happiness, which don't help you for akhirah, this is not to be called ni'mah. فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ غَلَطٌ مَحْضٌ. This is simply a mistake. وَقَدْ يَكُونُ اسم النعمة للشيء صدقا ولكن يكون إطلاقه على السعادة الأخروية أصدق. Sometimes it's not mistake. It can be used for a worldly thing, but if it is for akhirah, it's better. For example, if it is in dunya, it's still good. Like, for example, knowledge. Knowledge in dunya is also good. But if you have knowledge in akhirah, it's better. فَكُلُّ سَبَبٍ يُوصِلُ إِلَى سَعَادَةِ الْآخِرَةِ. Every cause which would lead to happiness and felicity in the hereafter and helps with that, إما بواسطة واحدة أو بوسائط, through one medium or through several media, you can call it ni'mah, because it finally is helping you in akhirah. But in order to explain this, now we have a detailed discussion. So this was just to begin with, just to open your appetite. Now we have lots of things to offer. Al-Qismatul Ula. The first thing that we want to mention to clarify, the first classification. He says, we can divide every matter, everything that is available to us, into the following groups. First, ما هو نافع في الدنيا والآخرة جميعا. Something which is useful, beneficial for dunya and akhirah. Okay? I'm sure you can guess the other three types. Good for dunya and akhirah. Good for dunya, bad for akhirah. Bad for dunya, good for akhirah. Bad for both of them. So you can consider for that. ما هو النافع في الدنيا والآخرة كالعلم وحسن الخلق. If you have knowledge, would it help you in dunya or not? Of course. And also would help you for akhirah. حسن الخلق. If you have good akhlaq, if you are good tempered, so it's good in dunya and good for akhirah. وإلى ما هو ضار فيهما جميعا. The second is something which is harmful in both of them. كالجهل. If someone is ignorant in dunya and akhirah, is harmful. Or su'ul khuluq. If you have bad temper, it's bad for you in dunya, it's bad for you in akhirah. وإلى ما ينفع في الحال ويضر في المآل. The third is, it's good for dunya, but in future it's bad. كالتلذذ باتباع الشهوات. You enjoy right now by satisfying your lower desires. But then in future, you will have problems. Okay? وإلى ما يضر في الحال ويؤلم ولكن ينفع في المآل. This is the opposite to the third. Something which is right now is harmful or painful. Harmful or painful. But ينفع في المآل. In future, it would be beneficial. كغمع الشهوات. If you stand against your temptations and lower desires, now you don't enjoy, you don't have pleasure that people who go after these things get. Maybe there is pain, but for your future, it's better. وَمُخَالَفَةِ النَّفْسِ. When you don't listen to the temptation of your nafs ammara, of course. فَالنَّافِعُ فِي الْحَالِ وَالْمَآلِ. Now, among these four types, those which are beneficial now and tomorrow, now and future, now here and akhirah, هو النعمة تحقيقا. If something is good in dunya and akhirah, definitely this is ni'mah. Anyone doubts? Yes.
You mentioned earlier that only something that is useful for your akhirah is a ni'mah, based on what this book is saying. I was wondering, doesn't that create a platform of being ungrateful, in the sense that the prerequisite of being grateful is acknowledging, for example, you know that you have something, or for example, your mother cooked something for you, or your wife cooked something for you, and you acknowledge that she's done something, and you are thankful for it. Whether you use this food in order to do good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not, that's another question. For example, if I don't have this prerequisite to identify a blessing, how can I be thankful for it, even in front of Allah? Let's say that someone has the ability to have be a good speaker, and this ability has been given to him or her by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they don't identify this as a blessing in the first place by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're not going to be thankful for it because they haven't identified it.
So, does it have the potential to benefit you in Akhirah or not?
Yeah, potentially, but what I'm saying is, the point is...
So, it's ni'mah if it has the potential. But then, it is your gratitude that enables you to actually benefit from it.
So what the sentence in the book says, it says that it's only a ni'mah if it's beneficial.
Yeah. So it means that in itself it's beneficial. But sometimes people have ilm, but they don't benefit.
Yes.
They have husnul khulq, but they use it to deceive people.
Yeah.
What they mean is that first, let's see what this thing in itself can do for us. If it is ni'mah, then of course you have to be grateful. So there are two things that should come together. That thing by itself should be ni'mah, and second, you have to have proper attitude. This is why the Quran says, لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. So it means that even if I have bad attitude, that was ni'mah. Means it had the potential. Now I am questioned, did I approach it properly or not?
So based on this ayah, this description, it's a ni'mah whether you use it or not. It's a blessing. Now, whether it's a ni'mah for you in your akhirah, that's the question.
So my understanding is this. I say it like this. I say this is ni'mah. If you don't use it properly, you turn it into niqmah.
But it is a ni'mah.
It is ni'mah.
It is ni'mah.
You have to be grateful for it. Otherwise, it becomes niqmah.
It becomes
Niqmah.
Niʿmah.
Niqmah. Okay?
So by default, it is a ni'mah unless you ruin it or don't.
Like, for example, Allah sends to us Prophet. Allah sends to us Quran. It's ni'mah. But for some people, it can make the situation worse. How can ni'mah make your situation worse? Say, okay, ni'mah has no problem. It is your attitude to ni'mah that make your situation worse than what you used to be before receiving this ni'mah.
So, yeah, that's
Like we had in the case of those who asked Isa alayhi salam to pray to God to send the banquet. And he prayed to Allah, أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا. He sent us a banquet that would be Eid for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted. He said, إني منزلها عليكم. I'm going to send it down to you. But فمن يكفر بعده فإني أعذبه عذابا لا أعذب أحد. But after that, if you are grateful, then I would make you a kind of azab that I don't do anyone else. Means I don't punish people who have not received this banquet like you. Yeah? Those who have received this banquet. So, this is why if we are not grateful to the blessings that Allah has given us, on the day of judgment, we wish we were not given these blessings because we have made our situation worse. Yes.
So this is, you could say this is directly related to the amount of knowledge that you have, because it depends on your knowledge in terms of how you understand that ni'mah.
Knowledge is part of it, yes.
Yeah, but then would it not be quite a big part of it? Because then if you consider, say, a blessing that could be turned into niʿmah, in the sense that you don't understand how this could be your blessing. So it is related to your knowledge and also your intention, your niyyah. Because unless you
So
have that,
part
you
of
can't really
part
benefit
of
from it.
the proper response to ni'mah is to acknowledge the ni'mah first and then to use it properly. If you don't have good knowledge, you don't acknowledge it. But it's not enough just to acknowledge. For example, I can talk about something for hours, but if I don't use it properly, then it's not enough.
So does that apply to people who could be maybe not religious, but they accept that this is a blessing in the sense that these are good things that are happening to us, so they could accept the good things for the good things themselves?
Yeah.
So is ni'mah in itself?
This is partial gratitude. Because if, for example, you give me food, you expect two things from me. One is that I use this food, I don't throw it away, I don't waste it. And secondly, that I show my appreciation to you, especially if you know this is helpful for me. Sometimes you know that it's not helpful for me, you decide not to be known. But as a father, as a teacher, as a guide, as someone that we want to have long relation in future, it's very important that the person not only acknowledges this is good, acknowledges that there is such a kindness towards him. Yeah? Yes. Many times children appreciate what parents give them, but they don't acknowledge. They enjoy their food, they enjoy their dress, they enjoy their holidays, but they don't acknowledge that this is coming from the parents. This is not enough. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need our acknowledgement, but because we are going to have long-term relation, and if we acknowledge, our relation becomes deeper and stronger, so it's very important that we acknowledge. Yeah? Like children, if children don't acknowledge the role of parents, then they can easily run away from home. Or someone can, easily deceive them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to run away from his home to Shaitan's home. Yeah? So it's very important to acknowledge. This is why Allah said to Musa alayhi salam, Habbibni ila khalqi. O Musa, make me lovable, endear me to my people. And he said, how? Allah said, Zakirhum bi'alai. Remind them of my blessings. Which is very important and has a beautiful ending. That Allah says, if you manage to bring back one person who has run away, it's great for you. We discussed it sometime before. So, he says, there are 4 types. The fourth was, وَإِلَى مَا يَضُرُّ فِي الْحَالِ وَيُؤْلِمْ. Right now it's harming you and brings pain. وَلَكِنْ يَنْفَعُ فِي الْمَآلِ كَقَمْعِ الشَّهَوَاتِ وَمُخَالَفَةِ النَّاسِ. Like when you don't listen to the temptations and don't satisfy your desire. فَالنَّافِعُ فِي الْحَالِ وَالْمَآلِ. What is beneficial now and in future? هُوَ النِّعْمَةِ تَحْقِيقًا. Definitely this is ni'mah. Yeah, something useful for dunya and akhirah. كَالْعِلْمِ وَحُسْنِ الْخُلْقِ. This is good for dunya and good for akhirah. وَالضَّارُّ فِيهِمَا. If something is harmful in dunya and akhirah, this is bala, this is a calamity, definitely. I don't think anyone has doubt about these two. What we need to discuss is when something is good for dunya, not for akhirah. Is it ni'mah or not? وَالضَّارُّ فِيهِمَا هُوَ الْبَلَاءُ تَحْقِيقًا. What is harmful in both dunya and akhirah is bala, it's a tragedy, it's a catastrophe, it's a calamity, definitely. وَهُوَ ضِدُّهُمَا. This is opposite to the first. وَالنَّافِعُ فِي الْحَالِ الْمُذِرُّ فِي الْمَآلِ. If something is good right now, but it's going to harm you in future, بلاء محض عند ذوي الأبصار. Those who have insight, they call this not ni'mah, they call this ni'mah, bala, ni'mah, bala. وتظنه الجهال ni'mah. But those who have no understanding, they think this is ni'mah. He says, how can this be ni'mah? He explains later. He says, if there is a poisoned honey, you eat that honey, you enjoy for few minutes, and then after that you die. Who can say this is ni'mah? Of course, your enemies can say this was ni'mah. Because for them was useful, but for you it was not ni'mah. Yeah? For you this was not ni'mah, although it was giving you some pleasure for some time. So, if anything is good for just some time, gives you some pleasure, some joy, some satisfaction, but it's going to harm you in akhirah, that is not ni'mah. It's a beautiful example, yeah? وَمِثَالُهُ الْجَائِعِ إِذَا وَجَدَ عَسَلًا فِيهَ السَّمُّ. Someone who is hungry, he finds honey, but there is poison in this honey. فَإِنَّهُ يَعُدُّهُ نِعْمَةً إِنْ كَانَتْ جَاهِلًا. If he doesn't know that there is poison, he says, oh, it's a great blessing. وَإِذَا عَلِمَهُ عَلِمَ أَنَّ ذَلِكَ بَلَاءٌ سِيقَ إِلَيْهِ. But if he knows that this is poison, he says this honey is not ni'mah, it's a bala which has been sent to me. Yeah? Like a shopkeeper who is not honest. When a naive customer comes, he says, this is ni'mah. Now I can sell him something which is £100, £1,000. He said, this is ni'mah. But he doesn't know that this is bala. It's not ni'mah. It's because of his ignorance, he thinks it is ni'mah. وَالضَّارُّ فِي الْحَالِ النَّافِعُ فِي الْمَآلِ. Opposite to this. If something is beneficial in future, but right now it's painful or harmful, this is ni'matun inda dhawil albab. Those who have lub, means those who have brain, those who have, intelligence, they say this is ni'mah. But bala'un inda al-juhal. Like what? مثاله الدواء البشع في الحال مذاقه إلا أنه شاف من الأمراض والأسقام وجالب للصحة والسلام. Like a medicine which is right now very bitter, but it's going to give you health. It's going to cure you. As-sabiyul jahil, a child who is ignorant. إذا كلف شربه ظنه بلاءً. When he is forced by parents, for example, to take this bitter medicine, he thinks this is bala. They don't like him. They want him to suffer because he doesn't understand. وَالْعَاقِلُ يَعُدُّهُ نِعْمَةً. But someone who is aqil says, this is ni'mah, thank you very much for prescribing and giving me this bitter medicine. Yes? وَيَتَقَلَّدُ الْمِنَّةَ مِمَّنْ يَهْدِيهِ إِلَيْهِ. يَتَقَلَّدُ al-minna means he feels he is under obligation to thank the person who has sent this medicine to him and has prepared يُحَيِّئُ لَهُ أَسْبَابَهُ, prepared the causes for this medicine. So he doesn't take this as something which is bad. Yeah? This is why, for example, when Rasulullah informed Imam Ali alayhi salam about his martyrdom, and then in the months of Ramadan, he said, you are going to be martyred. He said, how is going to be your patience? And he said, this is where I should be grateful. So if you understand, you are not going to be just patient, you are going to be grateful for this gift. This is why we say sabra shakirina. فَلِذَلِكَ. Then he says something about the difference between fathers and mothers. Alhamdulillah, we have a good portion of both, but I don't say it is right or wrong, but it's not it is not going to be generalized. So he says sometimes there is something which is painful, like hijama. You know hijama? In cupping, in the classic or traditional medicine, it's very important to take unnecessary blood and dirty blood, whatever. But it has some pain because they have to use some very sharp, like something like knife or something. So he says sometimes father knows that this is very good for the child, but mother cannot take it. Why you are doing this to my child? Because she has very soft heart. So mother tries to stop father, and the child, because doesn't know, thinks mother is angel and father is Shemr. So that the father is enemy. But father is not enemy. Father wants you to be healthy. Okay? So it seems that these issues were there even in time of Ghazali. فَلِذَلِكَ تَمْنَعُ الْأُمْ وَلَدَهَا مِنَ الْحِجَامَةِ. Mother stops her child from doing hijama. وَالْأَبْ يَدْعُوهُ إِلَيْهَا. But father says, go and do hijama. فَإِنَّ الْأَبْ لِكَمَالِ عَقْلِهِ. So because father is very understanding, يَلْحَظُ الْعَاقِبَةِ, considers future. Mother is emotional. Her perfection is in her emotions and love, for example. So, تَلْحَظُ الْحَالِ looks at the pain right now. I don't want my child to suffer now. وَالسَّبِي لِجَهْلِهِ, and the child, because doesn't know, يَتَقَلَّدُ مِنَّةً مِنْ أُمِّهِ دُونَ أَبِيهِ, because the child doesn't know, then feels that he should be very grateful to his mother, not father. وَيَانَسُ إِلَيْهَا, the child will be very much getting acquainted with the mother, develops lots of friendship with mother. وَإِلَى شَفَقَتَهَا, knows mother is very kind. وَيُقَدِّرُ الْأَبْ عَدُوًّا لَهُ, but says father is my enemy. But Ghazali says, not me, Ghazali says, لو عقل, if the child was understanding, لعلم أن الأم عدو باطنا في سورة الصديق. In this case, not always, but in this case, father is not enemy. The mother who doesn't let treatment because of pain is enemy. In this case, of course. But batinan, on the surface, he cannot understand this. لأن منعها إياه من الحجامة يسوقه إلى آلام وأمراض أشد عليه من الحجامة. Because by not letting him to do hijama, in future he would have more pains than the pain of hijama.
What is amrad mean? Amradi?
Amrad, illness, illnesses,
Illnesses.
maras from marad. ولكن الصديق الجاهل شر من العدو العاقل. If friend is not acting wisely, it can be, not always, can be worse than an enemy who is wise. Yeah, an unwise friend, it's not always, you can say in this way, it's better to say this way. An unwise friend can harm you more than a wise enemy. Yeah? And certainly much more than an unwise enemy. Yeah? Unwise friend, unwise enemy, certainly unwise friend is worse. لكن الصديق الجاهل شر من العدو العاقل وكل إنسان فإنه صديق نفسه. Then he says, every person is a friend for himself, loves himself. But if he is not wise, if I'm not wise, I do more harm to myself than benefit. By what? By going after something which is joyful or giving me instant pleasure or has no pain right now, but I'm going to lose in future. فَلِذَلِكَ يَعْمَلُ. So everyone is a sadiq for himself, but صديق جاهل يعمل به ما لا يعمل به العدو. We do so much to ourselves of bad things that even enemies may not do to us. For example, we harm our health. We waste our time. Na'udhu billah, we may commit sins. Has any enemy done so much bad to us? Who is the worst enemy that we have? أعدى عدوك نفسك التي بين جنبيك. So, the result is this. The overall situation is to be considered, not just what gives you pleasure right now. If something is good now, in the sense of either useful or gives you pleasure right now, and future, that's definitely very good. If it is causing problem now and future, definitely bad. Everyone would understand. If it is now difficult, painful, but in future is going to be good, like hijama, this is good. If right now is giving you pleasure, but it's going to be worse, making your situation worse in future, like poisoned honey, this is bad. So now you realize why we said, if something is only good in dunya and it's going to be bad for us in akhirah, that is not ni'mah. Yeah? That is not ni'mah. The second classification and division. He says, in dunya, the worldly causes are mixed. اعلم أن الأسباب الدنيوية مختلطة. They are mixed. قد امتزج خيرها بالشر. In dunya, normally, it's very difficult to find 100% good in dunya, normally. In the sense that it's all pleasure, no pain at all. In dunya, normally everything, if there is pleasure, it comes with pain. Yeah? Even, for example, it's very delicious food, but you have to work hard to get money. You have to cook the food. You have then afterwards to wash. Yeah? So it's not 100% pure pleasure. فَقَلَّمَا يَصْفُو خَيْرُهَا. It's very rare to have pure goodness. Kalmal. Is mal 100% good? No. Wal ahl wal walad wal aqarib. To have family, children, relatives. Is it 100% good, or it has difficulties? Sometimes it has pain, sometimes it brings challenges. Wal jah, to be famous. Is it good to be famous?
Yeah, it's famous.
Some people think it's very good to be famous, but they realize this when they become famous and see there are lots of problems for famous people. Yeah? If you are famous, it means that you are more easily attacked, you are more in danger. Yeah? So it's not 100%. And other things. So, it's very rare and difficult to find 100% positivity. Therefore, now we have a classification for you based on percentage. تنقسم إلى ما نفعه أكثر من ضره. Some of the things are things that their benefit is more than their harm. Like what? كقدر الكفاية من المال والجاه وسائر الأسباب. If you have sufficient money, if you have sufficient social position, jah means respect, social position, sufficient. Of course, if you had more, could be better from one perspective. But if you are considering everything together, you see, no, if you have sufficient is enough. And to have more than that would be difficult. Some of the things are things that their harm is more. Like al-mal al-kathir. For aksar al-ashkhas, for most of people, to have plenty of money is good, but its harm is more. Yeah, it's not 100% bad. It has some advantage, but for most of people, it's more useful. Yeah? It's like, for example, if you have lots of delicious food and, sweets at home. For most of people, it's bad. Because if they have lots of it, they cannot stop eating. There are only rare people that if their house is full of, sweets and, chocolates and food, delicious food, they just take what they need and they give the rest to other people. Most of people, at least, they waste it or they eat extra. Al-mal al-kasir wal-jahil wasi'. If someone is very socially, very established, very powerful, very famous, and things which are yukafi'u dharruhu naf'ah, its benefit and harm are equal. So there are three types of things, because 100% is difficult. Either its benefit is more or its harm is more, or they're equal. Then these also can be different according to people. For some people, something which is more positive can be more negative. وهذه أمور تختلف الأشخاص فرب إنسان صالح ينتفع بالمال الصالح وإن كثر. There can be people who are righteous, and if they have lots of halal money, they benefit from it by doing infaq fi sabilillah. Even if they are billionaire, they are not going to be harmed by that. Actually, they can benefit from that. ينفقه في سبيل الله ويصرفه إلى الخيرات فهو مع هذا التوفيق نعمة في حقه. This lots of money for him is ni'mah, but maybe for someone else is niqmah. Actually, for most of people is niqmah. Only rarely it's ni'mah. رب إنسان يستضر بالقليل. And there are people that if they have little, they will be harmed. Why? Because if they have little, they are going to complain and they are not going to be grateful. So then it will cause a problem. There is a hadith Qudsi, which is said, I have not checked myself, but I have heard from some scholars, some ulama, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna min ibadi man la yuslihuhu illa al-ghina law afqartuhu afsattuhu. Some of my servants are those that only when they are rich they are all right. If I make them poor, I have corrupted them, means I have damaged them. There are people that if they have money, they are healthy, they have job, car, children, they are okay. Otherwise, they start losing their iman. So, لو أفقرته أفسدته. وإن من عبادي من لا يصلحه إلا الفقر. And some of my servants are those that only when they are poor, they are all right. لو أغنيته أفسدته. If I make them rich, I have made them corrupt. So people are different. And therefore one of ulama was praying, Allahumma ja'alni mimman la yuslihuhu illa al-ghina. Make me one of those people that only to be rich is good for them. So that Allah gives him. But sometimes this cannot be sorted out by prayer. It's a matter of your character. So, we don't generalize. We cannot look at every poor person and say he is pious or not pious, or look at every rich person and say pious or not pious. But there is such a tendency that excessive richness or excessive poverty can be harmful, and relatively speaking, more people manage to keep their taqwa with poverty than with being very rich. Relatively speaking, more people have managed so far to be mu'min when they are poor than to be mu'min when they are very rich. So, alhamdulillah, we finish 2 classifications. Inshallah, we continue next week. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.